Hi, welcome to the Progressive Perspective. Tonight we're talking about whether or not it's good for the progressives to try to force a vote on Medicare for all in the House at Nancy Pelosi's expense. I'm joined by Kurt, Larry, and Colin, who's taking a dip. So I'm going to be.
There he is.
I'm not sure if I want to force a vote for Medicare for all, but I am in favor of pissing off Nancy Pelosi. I think progressives should be more comfortable with challenging Democratic power and Democratic leadership. I'm in favor of a hostile takeover. I'm in favor of going up and smacking them in the beak politically. Nancy Pelosi's favorability rating right now is below Donald Trump's. I don't know how that happened. And we're afraid to take her on? What the hell? Like, strategically, I don't know if it's the best move, but it feels right in my heart, and I want to do it.
I think I agree almost with everything you said there. There is a slim margin, with losing those 5 votes or those 5 seats. It's slim, but we still have leverage. And to like AOC's response of, well, what's step 2? Well, we figured that out after step 1. We know, we were talking earlier, the Koch brothers paid for that deal where they investigated how much it would cost to have Medicare for all. And in 10 years, we saved money. And with the money left over, we could still pay the medical workers, unemployment while they are looking for new jobs or beyond unemployment wages. So I'm not concerned about step 2. And to the notion that if we lose, well, then what? It's like, well, in my heart, what other hill is better to die on than Medicare for all during a pandemic? So it's like, it's a game of risk, but I think it's worth taking.
Larry, Colin, do you have anything to add before I jump in?
Yeah. So I'm thinking in terms of chess. I know that change is slow moving, and I know gathering support is nationwide is a big thing to pressure something as big as Medicare for all, to pressure politicians. It requires a lot of organizing and a lot of years and a lot of paperwork and a lot of just pushing, push. And the ideal situation for Medicare for all to go to start in the House, a House vote, that would be a Democratic controlled House, a Democratic controlled Senate, and a Democratic president. Now, if we pushed a Medicare for all vote during that time when we have majority House, majority Senate, and a Democratic
When
president,
we've essentially just won.
Yeah, just one. And that way, when you leverage it, then you could draw your lines in the sand and see then you could really start the battle of which Democrats are for this, which ones are against it, and then how can we push the ideal situation. That would be the ideal situation. And so, but I understand that these circumstances of right now they don't happen very often to where progressive have the leverage. You know what I mean? These opportunities do not come very often where progressive has this much leverage with the House vote for Pelosi. Now, with this leverage that doesn't come around very often with a Republican-controlled Senate and a Republican president, using this leverage right now, as you said, would be, speaking earlier, you said that it was just theatrics. Now, the problem, or not the problem, but there is plus sides and negatives to this theatrics. One of the plus side is you are bringing it to a national scale and bringing attention, you know what I mean? Getting media attention to a Medicare for all vote. And that could trigger organizers throughout the country to really grab hold and start pushing this,
People learn about it and perhaps convert them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it could gather support and push, and you know what I mean. It'll be a interesting starting point, but that's all it would just be an interesting starting point. And I think that the downside of with a Republican controlled Senate and a Republican president and the leverage that we have now in the House, that in the long term, I think that this could definitely hurt progressives if we shoot our load right now. I mean, like if we just take that shot, if we
I
take
love
that
that
shot right
chemistry.
now, if we take that shot right now, you know what I mean? I think it could, the marathon race of progressives and people that are out there. I think this is a unique opportunity, and it's definitely should be used for collateral and leverage to certain progressive policies. Um, but do we put all of our races into one basket right now? You know what I mean? And potentially hurt the overall momentum that we are gathering, because the momentum that we have has been gathering and gathering and gathering and gathering as progressives. And it's just like, I think that I would be hesitant to hurting the overall momentum of progressives. You know what I mean? Like, it's the only thing that I would be worried about now. And so that's I would leave this to better and smarter people and see how it plays out. But I just don't really have enough information to buy into something like this right now. You know, it's just my only take.
So I think it is important to note that Medicare, if we, under this scenario, we force a vote for Medicare for all, its likelihood of passing the House is, I'd say more unlikely than not. There's a chance it passes the House, but that's not that's not my reason for doing it. Even if it passed the House, it wouldn't go anywhere in the Senate. And even if it was brought up in the Senate, it'd get voted down. The reason why I want it is so we bring it up to the floor, it gets news coverage, progressives find camera anywhere they friggin' can and be like, Medicare for all is cheaper. We're in a pandemic. They just go off and they try to like smack that hornet's nest with a frickin' bat, and they just stir shit up. And I want that, like, because shit needs to be stirred up.
So I love my brother Colin, but I have to disagree with you a little bit here. I think that it's no time at all for progressives to be shy or retiring at all, or to be depending on some kind of negotiations for some kind of future benefits from the establishment of the Democratic Party. As Basil says, we're in the middle of a pandemic that's killed 300,000 Americans. Medicare for all is the premier issue among progressives, supported by a majority of the public. I believe even somewhat of a majority of Republicans, 88% of Democrats. Hell, if you aren't going to talk about this issue and push it now, what are we waiting for? And what do we lose? What do progressives lose by standing up for the premier issue that they have run on? I don't see where we lose anything. And it wouldn't be to try to win Medicare for all, but it would be to show that progressives are bold and standing up for the issues that we believe in and that our people need. We need this. We need this. People die, not just from this pandemic, but from all other reasons. I used to be a hospital worker, and the system is horrid. We pay twice as much money as any society and get an inferior product while people are robbing us blind. It's terrible. People don't want it anymore. Progressives ran on it as a premier issue. They should stand up for it. Nancy Pelosi is our enemy. One of our enemies.
Yeah.
She's a representative of the ruling class.
She's an asshole.
Progressives have to, push. They're not going to give us anything. I just think it's a time to be bold. That, you know, there are other ideas, there's other things to push. I mean, I don't see AOC tipping her hand of what is this big negotiating leverage she's going to, what is her plan? What is she going to get? And remember, progressives have to be pushed. Progressives have been elected taking very good positions, but when it comes down to it, sometimes they vote against the interests of the people. Many times they vote against it. You know, they get pressured and go along with the mainstream of the Democratic Party. I don't want them to do that. Even if it isn't tremendously successful, I'd still be happy that they stood up and tried something. We got to try stuff. We got to do stuff. And Colin, I understand you looking at on the long game, but also how long a game do we have? As progressives, we need to start having, taking bold actions and looking for routes to have some victories. That's just the way I feel about it.
My hope would be that hopefully it passes and it would light a fire in time before the runoffs in Georgia. And maybe it would inspire a lot of people to get out more than they already have and get out that vote, because now they actually would have a chance. That's all it takes, is to get that foot in the door, get some energy going, momentum. And with it that close, there's enough time where people aren't going to forget about it. It's got to be now. It feels like now or never.
Yeah. It's important to note that both of the Democratic Senate candidates in Georgia have both come out against Medicare for all, but we have to shift the Overton window. One thing, the Tea Party was a bunch of white racist punks, and that's all they were. But what they did right was they were bold enough to just stay in the room and be like, no, F you, you're coming to me, I'm not moving a single step in your direction. And what happened? People came to them. They shifted the Overton window. They shifted the topic of discussion. And I think the left could learn a lesson from that.
The right, extreme right Republicans are willing to fight. They're willing to stand up and fight for what they believe in. What they believe in may be sick and crazy, but they're willing to fight for it.
So I got a question that's a little bit like on that topic. Let's say there is a vote. Who do we want in her spot? We got to think about it,
So
I think honestly, Adam Schiff would be my vote. It's someone that doesn't really seem like he wants to be president in the near future, but someone that's got like prosecutor background.
Well, Nancy Pelosi is the only Democrat running for that seat, and if she doesn't win it, then Kevin McCarthy would take it.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's how it works, but I'm not an expert on it.
So I'm not going to lie. If we try to force a vote on Medicare for all and Nancy Pelosi calls our bluff, there is a somewhat possibility that the Speaker of the House will be a Republican, but I don't think that's likely at all. Pelosi would probably say, fuck it, sure, fine, I'll bring it to a vote.
I would assume.
Goddamn progressives.
Yeah. Let her talk back. Let her. That's okay.
Come and see. Come.
Yeah. Beat us up. At least then we don't have to have hospital bills.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be afraid of making the Democratic establishment mad and worried that they'll do things against progressives, because they do things against us all the time anyway.
We have to scare them.
Yeah.
We have to throw down the friggin' gauntlet and say, no, I'm fighting for people. I don't care about your donors. I don't care about decorum. I don't care about making you feel good. I'm fighting for people, and I'm not going to apologize. And I don't give a damn about my colleagues. My colleagues are getting us killed. Wow. Just to get back to the whether or not we should force a vote, I want to make it clear that if you don't think we should force a vote, that doesn't make you less of a progressive. And Justin Jackson, in his tweet that AOC responded to, said if they don't force a vote, they're revealing themselves as something. They're not necessarily revealing themselves. They just have a different point of view on tactics. They're no less of a progressive if you don't think we should go through with this. I personally think we should, but
We'll have lots of controversies, and we don't know exactly how to get where we want to go. And we'll have disagreements, and we need to learn to work through them and refine our course of action, but be determined that eventually we have to win these struggles. People need health care. We need a Green New Deal desperately. Future generations need a Green New Deal. Our Earth needs a Green New Deal. We have to do these things, and that means we have to work out our problems. We have to talk. We have to disagree sometimes, and then we have to come to unity.
If you ask me, the time to fight is always now. The time to go for it is always right now. The time to do. Martin Luther King once said, I'm going to butcher this quote, by the way. The time is always right to do the right thing. And if I'm in Congress, I go for it. Just final verdict. Kurt, what do you say?
I agree. I say hold them hostage, force a vote, put her under the fire, and then just sit back and pray that it goes the way we want, and then that we get the votes, and hopefully that sparks some energy nationwide, and everyone follows suit and everything falls into place. That's my hope. And if we hold them up for a vote and it doesn't go our way, I won't lose any respect. I will still gain respect for those individuals that, put it's kind of probably political suicide in a way. And I respect them. I hope that's the way it goes. Yeah.
Larry?
So yeah, I think as progressives, we need to be bold, take initiative. We'll make mistakes, but if our hearts and minds are in the right place and we're trying, we will find ways to move forward. I think it's important to stand up for the things we believe in, and for progressives who've been elected to stand up on the issues that people have elected them for. And Medicare for All is pivotal. I'd just like to quote, you talked about Martin Luther King here. At one point, it was in 1967, May of 1967, said, "We moved into a new era, which must be the era of revolution. We must recognize that we can't solve our problem now until there's a radical redistribution of economic and political power. This means a revolution of values and other things. We must see now that the evils of racism, economic exploitation, and militarism are all tied together. You can't really get rid of one of them without getting rid of the others. The whole structure of American life must be changed." And that's the project that we're really undertaking, to take the power away from those billionaires that we've talked about and have a democratic society in which working people have power and share the fruits of their labor. And then we could live in peace and prosperity and dignity.
So that's a yes?
That's a yes.
That's a yes. Okay. Colin, what do you say?
I guess for me, I'm hanging on the ideal situation. The ideal situation for me to push a vote would be a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic president. And even though it may get shoot down, even in that scenario, I think that's where the lines should be drawn, and that's where the fighting should really be pushed, and that's where you should convert all your energy. So, but again, the circumstances that come along for progressives, like the time right now with Nancy Pelosi, in order for her to get Speaker of the House, the progressives have leverage, and so these circumstances don't come by very often, and pushing a Medicare for all in this moment for just theatrics, basically, I'm kind of hesitant on it. I'm not for it or against it. It's just like, I'm not going to push, say, yeah, they need to do this. And I'm not going to say, no, they shouldn't do this. I'm just like, I am just like totally detached from it. And I see both ends of the spectrum, and it's just whatever they choose to do, I am fine with it. And I'm writing this out, and I'm still going to advocate for Medicare for all. I'm still going to be out here. I'm still going to be a DSA member. I'm still going to be out here doing what I do and organizing and doing whatever, so I'm not keen on the idea, but if they do it, I will root for them, and like what, and if they don't do it, I'm okay with that too,
Yep.